Insider drops a bombshell on the Trey Hendrickson negotiation concerning his contract that has been ongoing all of this year. We're going to share the details and how this is positive news in this ongoing saga between the Cincinnati Bengals front office and Trey Hendrickson. Welcome to the jungle. This is Isaac Coffman with Bengals Digest. Happy to see you during this breaking news that has just come out. And if you want to be up to date on all the news concerning the Bengals during this very dramatic, very eventful offseason, smash that subscribe button and join in on the discussion. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from the community. We're nearing 2,000 subscribers. We appreciate so much all those that have subscribed and are joining in on this discussion. Well, recent news just broke. It has come out that despite back earlier in the year, talks stopping before the draft, according to Trey Hendrickson, report has come out that they are back talking with Trey Hendrickson. The front office have now resumed talks. This is the news. You know, you hate to talk about this. This is an ongoing issue with Trey Hendrickson. We want to talk about bigger and better things, not contract issues. Why is this such an issue? Trey Hendrickson has threatened to sit out this year. He has not been at practice. He has already not been at minicamp, being warned he is going to be fined. He still did not show up. Now he's being fined in the ballpark of about $105,000 for not showing up. So he means business. He is digging in and saying, I am not going to play under this contract. His current contract he is under right now is around $16 million for the year. However, despite all the drama, despite all this, as a fan, you'll take any positive. The fact they are talking again, that is huge, because what really set things off was earlier last month, Trey Hendrickson got on a plane. He came to practice. It was not mandatory. It was just OTAs, and voiced his displeasure, saying, I'm not going to play under this contract, and said that was a big bombshell at the time that they had not talked since the draft. And that's not going to do anything. You're just going to be at a stalemate. And as Bengals fans, we just want to see Trey Hendrickson back with the team. He was such a force last year. He was really the only force on this defense last year. We've talked about it time and again. We're a broken record. This defense struggled last year. And if they're going to be successful, this defense has got to improve. It's got to be better. There are positive signs with Al Golden. You have a few pieces added in the offseason, but losing Trey Hendrickson would just be a huge blow. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, why is that huge, though, about resuming talks? Well, this is what he had to say back earlier in the year. This is coming from Trey Hendrickson back in May. He said, when there's a lack of communication in any relationship, where it's a business or personal relationship, lack of communication leads to animosity. And that leaves my narrative only to me with no clear direction. You take whatever side you're feeling about with the front office, with Trey Hendrickson, he's under contract, he should play, or you take his side. That still isn't going to work. That's not good. That is something you got to put towards this front office, that there has not been communication. That's not good. No matter what, there should be an ongoing discussion with this issue, trying to resolve it. Maybe you're at odds and you're just not going to, at that moment. That's different than back before the draft. That's a long time to not even be reaching out, to not even trying to be discussing this. And all they got was a text message from Zach Taylor. That's all Trey Hendrickson has got. That's what prompted him to show up in Cincinnati to the press, to voice his displeasure. I'm not a big fan of players who sit out, who do that, because that's mixing the business with the actual sport. As fans, we hear about the contracts, we hear about the numbers, but we're watching, at the end of the day, a game. We want to see players out there performing. We enjoyed the game, the sport. When you have this drama, unfortunately, because of him not being on the field, because he is not practicing, now the fans are caught in the middle. Now you're not seeing all of really a player like Trey Hendrickson, what he can bring to this team. There's some excitement in Cincinnati right now. They were in the Super Bowl just a few years ago and have come close in the playoffs. They've been at the AFC Conference Championship several times. And that, as a Bengals fan, you know, we almost feel spoiled for years and years, not even getting a playoff win. But Joe Burrow has shown he can get you there. He has the talent. The locker room The players such as Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, we've talked about them at length. They are game changers. The Bengals finally have those in-house. So to hear that, it's that's a positive. We got to take our positives with it, and especially since if they're resuming talks. This is going back to Duke Tobin. I wanted to bring up his comments. It was earlier in the year. This was back in February. This is what he had to say. I want Trey on our football team. He's under contract. We're looking to pay him for what we believe will be really good future years, and we see him as not falling off in his career. And so that's why we're actively trying to pay him. Clear as day, you're saying right here you're willing to pay more. There's been the talk of Trey Hendrickson is under contract. He should play it out. Well, here's comments from Duke Tobin back in February saying we feel he's not going to fall off. In fact, he's going to be the same, if not better. So what could be a solution to this? You're talking about they are saying they're willing to pay more. Well, there is one option that came out with James Rapine. I wanted to share this because this came from an article on James Rapine, and he had to say when it comes to trying to get something worked out with Trey Hendrickson, remains to be seen, but if the Bengals are willing to come back to that $28 million, that is the rumored report that they had offered, but Hendrickson turned down. This is where, again, you got to get back to those discussions. You've got to be communicating. The deal would be offer him a 2-year. It's $76 million. That sounds kind of scary. He even says as much in this article. But that would average out to about $28 million because some of that would be up front in a bonus form. Now, the difference here is that if Hendrickson does drop off this year, let's say that goes against what Duke Tobin is saying. He believes that he won't have a drop-off, but he is going past the age of 30. Bengals have a history of not wanting to pay players once they hit 30 years old. That has been the hesitation. Let's just get that out of the way. I think that's what has been the problem with the Bengals of not willing to just pay Hendrickson more. Again, going back to he is under contract. He agreed to that extension, but Duke Tobin said as much that they're willing to pay more. So now you need to, as they say, put your money where your mouth is. If you're saying as much, then you need to follow through on that. And that's where the frustration is. But this is going back to, is Hendrickson willing to take $28 million? They just released Jermaine Pratt. And Carson, who's also on this channel, go check out that video. He did an excellent job breaking that down with the Jermaine Pratt contract. They freed up. Now they have $27 million in cap space. Just think of that. They have the cap space to be able to work with Trey Hendrickson. Now, again, it comes back to Trey Hendrickson. Myles Garrett was signed this year to a $40 million per year contract. And if you look at the statistics, Trey Hendrickson only has one less sack than Myles Garrett in the last couple seasons. So you understand Hendrickson thinking, I'm maybe worth that much. Now, is that going to actually happen? It's hard to say, right? We can't say he really has as much of a presence as Myles Garrett. He might not be that superstar. But when you look at the market, sure, you can look at other players. There's been others that have been signed to about the 30, 35. Max Crosby, you think of those kind of guys. Are the front office willing to go up to maybe the 30? Because if that is true, $28 million, it's something he's not happy with. So they've got their hands full. There's no doubt about it. They have got to get this worked out, though. As fans, you're feeling the heat. You're feeling the frustration. As fans, we should be building the anticipation of what is going to be the record this year with all of our players healthy, with all of these superstars playing together and gelling, with our first-round draft pick, who is also having contract negotiations. Those guys all on the field. We want to do the what-ifs and see it from the practice. See it ourselves. Right now, it's at a frustrating point where we just have to sigh about it, unfortunately, because it's still at the stalemate, but the talks have resumed. We've seen crazy things happen before. Sometimes these things take more time. Sometimes things get worked out overnight. So stay tuned. We'll take the positive, and hopefully we won't have to talk about contracts. We can talk about Hendrickson is tearing it up in practice. He is back to his old self. He is going to be a game-changing wrecking machine like he was last year with the pressure rates that the defense is going to need. They're going to need Trey Hendrickson. They're going to need a guy like Trey Hendrickson. So stay tuned. This is hopefully going to blow over. Hopefully we can move on to bigger and better things. Because me personally, I'm ready to not be talking about contracts, but talking about what are these players doing on the field. But we want to hear from you. Is this positive news to you to hear that they have now resumed talks with Trey Hendrickson? Let us know in the comments below. And again, if you have not already, smash that subscribe to be all up to date when our new videos drop. So that's going to do it for now, guys. As we say, hoo day.